They walk in that room, they become yours. And you got this energy inside your soul that says, I am the number one determinant of the success or failure of my students. Hey, y'all, when you get back, kick some butt. I'll see you in the winner's circle, celebrating your victory. Let's go. 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 Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, everybody.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week 153 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. Let me see who we got here this morning. We got here, we got a long list here. We got Ricardo Giannis out there in Houston, Rodney Richardson. We got Arlette Johnson in the building. I'm going to talk about Arlette in a few minutes, man. I got to tell you about Arlette, but I'm going to keep moving right now. We got Scott Wiley in the building, Takesha High in the building, Portia Ajigbo. Ajigbo. I think I got that right. We got Demetrius Scott in the building, Donna Sherritt-Gant, man. What an asset to what we do in terms of how she shares this program. We got Michael Benton. We got the Dr. Sheikah Houston in the building. We got Vanessa Zeskin, Golfar WT. We got Sean Hurt back from Johannesburg, South Africa. He's back in the building. He's up there in Detroit, did his thing this morning, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor. How can I mess that up, right? And they were doing their thing. But good to see Sean back in America. But he was on fire this morning, man. I think Sean ready to get back to Johannesburg. You go on his page and check out this morning's session, man. I think he ready to get back down there. Raquel Whitney is in the building. Cynthia Farmer, Darnell McElveen. We got the queen in the building. That's my wife, man. Kimberly Broughton Kafele, the queen of the castle. We got Dot McKeever Jeter. I should say Principal Dot McKeever Jeter. We got Adrian Young, Stephanie D. Jacobs, Tanji Cohen in the building. Cohen is probably. Dana Hassinger, Coelho. Man, that's Waterbury. That must be somebody that I met from when I was in Stratford, Connecticut the other day, or maybe it's when I was working with Waterbury. We got Abisola Ashuntolu in the building from Orange, New Jersey. I'll let you in on a secret, Abisola. I was born in Orange, but I don't be telling nobody. I tell them I was born in East Orange, right? But I'm actually born in Orange, but I claim East Orange, right? I got Portia, and I appreciate that. John Herrick's Principal Sherrod Laws is in the building. September, Devon Vance Daniels in East Orange. In Jersey. She's not in East Orange. In Jersey in the building. Rashard Davis in the 702. That's Vegas. We got Trina Kinsey Kelly in the building. She's down there in Naptown, man. You know, I'm in Indianapolis every July. I think it's like the third Monday, but not July. Every July, in Lawrence Township, right? So we'll have more information out about that. James Wilburn, let's go, let's go, let's go. Create and Educate in the building. There's Melissa Jones Chunu in the building. Lysandra Brackens. Nicolette Lesniak is in the building. Ronald Pugh, my man, in the building. Tony McClenny, Donna Ross. That's Donna A. Ross. Christine Telford. What time is it? We got. Let me start getting ready. We got Michelle Perkins Griffin. Marsha Poe, where we at? Yolanda McKinney, Hey, Yolanda, I'm gonna talk about these tornadoes in a minute, but I'm assuming since you're on that you're good. I hope you are. But we'll talk about that in a second. Charlena Hottie is in the building. Last one, Nataki Bulk Night, I think it is, and Alan Bryan. I think I'm gonna stop it right there. Well, I got a shout out. I see Stacy L. Joy. She's been rocking with us for the longest, man. Maybe since the beginning. So I can't not mention her name. But let me stop it right there. Oh, I see my man. I got to shout out Michael Moore, the grandson of the great Katherine Johnson. Michael Moore, check him out. He's a good brother. I've been knowing him all his life, right? Grandson of the great Katherine Johnson. I think I'm going to stop it right there, y'all. Let's get it started. We got a lot to talk about here. So let me just say to you formally now, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 153 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And you know, last week I was in a hotel. I ain't in no hotel this week. So I'm gonna let you know something in a second. First, let me ask you something. How y'all feel, man? I'm in Jersey. I'm in the Northeast. It's horrible outside. It's raining. You know, it's cold. I got a flight to Denver after this because, you know, I'm going to be speaking at the ASCD conference in Denver tomorrow. You know, I'm bringing them flames. If you down there, make sure you check me at 10:45, and then we're going to do a book signing right after. So I'm on fire about that, but that's tomorrow. Let's talk about now. Let me let you know something. How you feel right now? Just put it in the thread. Like tell me how you feel. How you feel. I know the week is challenging. I get it, but how you feel? Let me tell you how I feel, man. I got to back up on this one, man, because I don't want to hit my computer. I'm on fire. Woo! Oh my God, I had to get that out. Oh man. Because see, when I'm in the hotel, y'all, man, you know, I can't release that like that, man. You know, housekeeping be outside, they hitting on my door. And you know, so I keep it bottled in, right? Because this is the only time I say that. Like I did 4 states this week, right? And the people like, when you gonna say you on fire? When you gonna say bam? I'm like, no, man. And like, where's your jersey? No, man. That's Saturday, man. Y'all ain't getting that, right? No, you're gonna get my energy, but you ain't getting this. I'm on fire. Woo! You ain't getting that during the week, baby. That's for Saturday. So I'm saying, hey, y'all hit the fire. I see you, Dr. Dow Diggs, my man out there in St. Louis. I see you, right? Y'all, how you feel? Put them flames. I see them. I see them. I see them. See, like, I got to say this to you. I got 3 guests in the wings, too. I got to say this to you. I ain't playing when I say I'm on fire with y'all. Like somebody might think, you know, oh, that's his stick, right? No, that ain't my stick, man. I ain't no comedian. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real. Like I gotta release that. Because my week is like your week. It got pressure in it, right? So I gotta release that. And that's how I do that, man. I feel like doing it one more time, but I won't, right? So look, y'all, I got to bring it down. My commentary real quick. In what ways does this is self-reflective? In what ways does my leadership add value to my school community? In what ways does my leadership add value to my school community? Philip Douglas, I see you. I can't get to where you are in Denver because I'm do that presentation, that keynote, and I'm out, right? So I got you. So next time I'm in Denver, I got you, right? So in what ways does my leadership add value to my school community? I'm just asking you. Josh going to tell me to clean my mirror, man. When you look in here, like what's it saying back to you, right? What's it saying back to you about how you add value? See, the other question, you know, the question that undergirds everything that we do on this platform, does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? But I'm not asking you that right now. I'm asking you, does your leadership add value? Is there something about the fact that you walk through the door every day and it adds value to your school? Aspiring leaders who are watching, when you become, will your presence add value? Right? Current principals, does your principalship add value? Because if I can keep it frank, which I know you don't mind, there are some of us in leadership that our presence does not add value, it takes away value. See, some of us got work to do. Some of us got to get better, or some of us need to step off and step into something different. This is not for you, because if you're not adding value, then this is not your calling. See, you got to add value to the lives of the people in the building, the adults and the children, not just the professional staff, but all staff. Enough there. I got to bring it way down, y'all. I'm not going to talk about this long, but I'm going to acknowledge it. The Covenant School shooting in Nashville, 6 lives lost, right? 3 9-year-olds, 3 adults. Man, I wrote on my social media, it just hurts, man. You know, because when you're a leader, when you're a teacher, when you're an educator, you think about if you were in that building, right? I mean, and that's not confined to us having the pain, you know, everybody. But when you work them buildings, knowing that somebody can bring a long gun into your building and wreak havoc, I mean, that thing hurts, right? So, you know, thoughts and prayers is completely played out, but I got nothing else but thoughts and prayers to the families and friends of those 6 beautiful people that lost their lives to senseless violence, right? And then, but I also want to speak about the tornado outbreak yesterday, and it's not just yesterday. We're in that season now, and you know, even here in Jersey, you know, their tornado forecast. But you know, when you talk about the Central Plains, those areas, you know, this is that season, right? So I know that Yolanda McKinney is on here. She's right there in Little Rock. Rosetta Durden, who was a friend of ours, she's out there in Little Rock, and there are others, but it wasn't just Little Rock. You know, it's several states, and it could be folks who watch this platform and were victimized or at least compromised and can't watch it today for that reason. So just, you know, just prayers to anybody in the path of any of these hurricanes, you know, and there's still more to come. It's not over, because this is the season, right, for hurricanes. Let me just go through these announcements real quick. Welcome to the first timers. Always welcome to the first timers. Don't let this be your last time. There are, and I see you out there, Siobhan Jackson. So there's another one out there in Arkansas. It's a lot of y'all that tune in from those various areas. But to the first timers, you can see all of the 152 previous sessions that you missed by going to the virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel. So go there, hit the subscribe button. That's very important. Hit the subscribe button and be a part of the family of viewers that watch this platform either live or the video. My School Leadership Institute, July 11 and 12, in person. I'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina for 2 days from 9 to 4 both days, and we're just going to talk leadership. You know, but the difference is I won't be on my computer camera, my webcam. I'll be in the same room with you. So go to principalkafele.com, scroll down to the announcements, and you'll see it there. Click the register button and register. If you can't make it for both days, come for one. Right? We'll work on the registration fee on that. But come join me in Charlotte at July 11 and 12 all day. We're talking leadership, man. We have a ball. This is, I think it's the 6th annual that we're doing this now. So come on down and be with us. My Assistant Principal Identity book, my new book that was supposed to come out May 19th. They moved it up to May 5th. So it's coming out sooner. Those of you who already ordered, you probably got the notification from Amazon that it'll be shipped earlier. So that's May 5th. The Assistant Principal Identity, subtitle, Protecting Your Leadership Mindset, Fervor, and Authenticity. Order it now, because if the pattern continues in terms of my last 4 or 5 books, my books sell out on the day that they're released, right? So they usually print about 5,000 or 6,000, and they're all gone, right, on that day, and then we got to wait like 2 weeks for them to reprint. So order now so that you're part of that initial printing. All right, it comes out July 5th. Now I got to share this with you before I bring my guest up. I'm excited about this. My publisher, ASCD, that you all should be aware of, ASCD, their conference, the annual conference is right now in Denver. I'll be there tomorrow. They partnered with Alexa, from Amazon. I don't have Alexa, so I can't even speak intelligently about Alexa, right? I learned about Alexa. I've always known it was there, but I don't really know much about it. But I heard more about it when ASCD partnered with them. So they partnered with them so that now there are these morning messages, and they will be from me, yours truly. So you go to your Alexa, however that works. I have no idea how it works. I don't have an Alexa, that little ball. I don't have it. But you go to your Alexa, and you'll see the language when you order it. I'll tell you how to order it, and I will have a different message every day. They sent me this beautiful microphone. Look at this thing, man. They sent me this beautiful microphone, and they didn't even charge me for it. And they said I can keep it, man. and I sit here and I just record all these messages, these short messages, and then you go to Alexa starting yesterday, and I have a different message every day. Right. So just go to I need to put it on my website. I'll do that later on the plane. But in the meantime, just go to my Facebook page, scroll down, or my Instagram page, or my Twitter page. They're all at Principal Kafele, and you'll see it. Just go ahead and click the link and register. And then hopefully I can give you something positive every morning to get you fired up and ready to go. Right. That's that. I ain't gonna promote my books right now. You know my books. So if you don't have them, get them. Lastly, I'm ready to go. I got 3 guests, man. That means we got a lot to talk about. I got three veteran assistant principals, man. And I when I call on my guests, I handpick all my guests, man. A lot of people call me, and then I vet them. Let me see if there's somebody I want on here. But these 3, I called them. They ain't called me. I'm like, yo, I want you. I'm looking at I'm looking at them. They backstage, but I could see them. I said, I want you, and you on this platform, so we could talk about assistant principal leadership. So with that said, let me bring them up into the space, man. We got 1, 2, and 3. They are here. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you, and I'm so glad y'all are here. Let me put a little logo on the screen. There we go. Is that my smallest one? Yeah, I guess it is. All right. So I'm glad y'all are here, y'all. And if the people out there in StreamYard land, Facebook land, YouTube land, Twitter land, all that land, LinkedIn land, hit the share button for me. Hit the retweet button for me. Hit that like button, man. People be teaching me, say, Kafele, you got to hit the like button, man. You got to activate the algorithms. So hit that like button, man. Even if you don't like it, just like it anyway, right? So them algorithms, man, can start working, man. Because I be boring my wife to tears, man. I be like, I tell her, man, them algorithms, man, it's something about them. I could put up a post that's like substantive, man. It got good stuff, but the algorithms don't let it go nowhere, so nobody knows I wrote it. Then I put a selfie sitting on a daggone airplane, and that thing go practically viral. Like what is that? Why didn't they see my real stuff? They see the picture. It's the same picture. I'm sitting on the plane with a mask on, just a different flight. But everybody, all these like. I said, that's them algorithms, man. But now I make something like heavy duty, man, educating Black boys, educating Black children. Don't nobody see it, man. Algorithms. Oh, man, hit that like button, somebody. Let them know we here. Donna Sheriff, she hitting everybody up. I see you, Donna. Hey, Tracy, let me share with the people who you are, because you do big things. I'm going to stop running my mouth, y'all. Tracy Oliver has devoted her career to teaching and learning. She has worked in public education for over 20 years. She was a middle and high school teacher for the majority of those years. During those years, she held many positions, such as chairperson of the Principal Advisory Committee and chaired the Teachers Union Committee. As she continued to develop her career, she served on the district leadership team for conducting multicultural training for Duval County schools. This team was responsible for training school-based administrators and teachers on how to infuse culturally responsive content into the curriculum. Currently, Mrs. Oliver is an assistant principal for Duval County schools, and she strives to empower teaching and learning for teachers and students. She owns her own consulting company, Oliver Group Consulting Services, and she is the founder and CEO of Go Lead Women's Leadership Association. Go Lead will be hosting, hear this, y'all, its first annual meeting on April 4th through 6th, 3 days in 2023 in Orlando, Florida. This will be an epic professional development conference for leading ladies to refine, reinvent, and rediscover leadership capacities. Mrs. Oliver believes in strengthening self-worth to serve others. So what you want to do right now, she's going to give all her information later, but for now, make sure you send her a friend request so that you can get more information about this conference that's coming up in April, like next week, right? So make sure you hit her up, and maybe you can join her in Orlando if you're down that way. And let me just throw this as an aside to the audience. When I read the bios of my three guests, I've known Tracy and Stephanie for some time, but in having conversation with them, a lot of what they would say is that they would kind of thank me for just the work I do. So I really didn't know them professionally until I read these bios, and I said, "Man, I'm thinking to myself, like I read it last week, Tracy. I'm like, man, we should have been talking about some other things beside the fact you were grateful for me writing the assistant principal 50 and all that stuff. I say you've been putting in some work, right? Some real valuable work. And I felt kind of guilty. And then I read Stephanie, which I'm getting ready to read, and I said, man, Stephanie, you've been doing some stuff, man. So let me read this. As Stephanie Gage, as an elementary school teacher, Stephanie's philosophy was teach like your child is in your class. Her philosophy shifted when she became an assistant principal. Now she leads like her child is a scholar in her school. Stephanie Gage is the assistant principal at Douglas MacArthur Middle School in Prospect Heights, Illinois. That's Chicagoland. Prior to her current role, she diligently served the students and families of the Berwyn North School District for 22 years. Teaching 4th and 5th grade students at Havlicek School for 19 years. I can only pronounce that because of John Havlicek of the Celtics. Right, 19 years, and being assistant principal at Lincoln Middle School for 3 years taught her more about life than her students and families will ever know. Though she has many areas that she focuses on as an AP, over the last couple of years, she's been working with the teachers to enhance and implement strategies for ELL students and students in need of MTSS interventions. She is the proud mother of Brittany, a third-year clinical psych doctoral student, earning a Bachelor's of Arts in English, from Northern Illinois University, a Master of Arts in Teaching from National Louis University, where we at, and Master of Arts in Educational Leadership from North Park University, has afforded Stephanie an opportunity to collaborate with dynamic educators throughout the years. She serves as co-chair for the Illinois Principal Association North Cook Diversity and Equity Committee. And then lastly, Dr. Roz Gaskins, who I haven't met face to face, but I feel like we've been knowing each other for a very long time. So once again, I wasn't aware of the breadth of what you've done. But I got three powerhouses, man. Y'all better hit that share button, better hit that retweet button, let them know I got the right ones on here today, right? Dr. Roz Gaskins began her career as an elementary school teacher in a large urban district in the DMV area. Man, I don't like driving in that DMV. Like when you get like in that DC, Maryland, Virginia, like because I was in it like a week ago. I'm like, it's too much. It's too much. Early on, she knew that she wanted to devote her career to improving teaching and learning within urban schools. During her 20-plus year career, she served as instructional coach, instructional lead teacher, and grade level administrator. As an instructional leader, she led teacher teams to utilize data to increase student achievement within Title I and turnaround schools. Dr. Roz Gaskins is currently the proud principal of the CMIT Academy Public Charter High School. Dr. Gaskins continues to collaborate with teachers and school leaders as the CEO and founder of the Village Leadership Group. And some of y'all might recognize her name because I say watch her on Facebook Live every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. Dr. Roz and her sister and fellow educator, Arnice Williams, I didn't know Coach Williams was your sister, right? And are the authors of the bestseller, Set Your Team on fire. The 3 elements of a professional learning community. Let me say the name of that book again. Set Your Team on Fire. The 3 elements of a professional learning community. Realizing that this is a critical time in education, Dr. Rouse is on a mission to partner with other on fire school leaders to transform the learning culture of schools across the nation. That's a lot there, man. That's a lot of power, y'all. That's a lot of power. Women's History Month had ended yesterday, but we still in it, man. We still in it. April 1st, we still in it. Let's go, y'all. Hit the share button, hit the retweet button, hit the like button. Let them know we're here. I'm finished with everything. I'm ready to go. Hey, Tracy, as an educator, who is Tracy Oliver? As I see there, Tracy Davis Oliver. Who are you as an educator, Tracy?
Well, good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Principal. I am so excited that you finally invited me to be on the show. But it's all about love, baby. We work, we champion many initiatives together, and that's awesome. I absolutely want to reach out to Dr. Roz when we get through because I think we are sisters from another mother. I really do. So who is Tracy Oliver? So I am a person that absolutely, my fundamental belief is that we are better together. And so as I move forward in my spaces, that is my premise by which I catapult all of my ideas and my initiatives. So currently, right now, I am currently and during the daytime, I am an assistant principal, but at nighttime, that's where we actually make things absolutely happen. So I am building teams so that we can reinvent, rethink, and rediscover our leadership capacities. I believe that school climate and culture is the premise and the catalyst for student achievement, making sure that we have a building that's safe for learning. Number one, if we do that first, then we really don't have a lot of instructional practices to put into place. That we can make sure that our children are safe emotionally, academically, and socially. And so that's one of the things that I absolutely promote on my campus currently and throughout the districts that I've had an opportunity to work with my consulting business and going in and helping to do staff development for different school systems, particularly the private school systems by which I go in. And so I've, like you've already said, I've have my nonprofit now that's doing very well and it's reaching many people. And if you're able to come to Orlando next week, it will certainly be your time to come and collaborate with other leading ladies across the nation. I have people coming from North Carolina, people from Wisconsin, all different districts within Florida. And so I believe that's worth your time. But who is Tracy Oliver, really? So during the day,
keep in mind, I got a lot of questions now. So
all right, that's it.
All right, because I got a lot. We gonna
okay.
talk all the way for 2 hours. Let me go with the same question, Stephanie Gage, as an educator. Who is Stephanie Gage?
As an educator, I am that person that is building bridges with our families, building bridges with our kids. So, of course, as an AP, we handle a lot of different issues, a lot of different things. So, a lot of times, I'm that person that can build that relationship with the student because a lot of times the teachers don't have that time frame that I have. So, I'm that person that can go in there and can kind of get some things settled out and share it out with the team. I'm a person who I wear my heart on my sleeve. And when I get in there, as I said, I lead as though my child were in my school. Because that's the type I know when I gave that, I know what I'm bringing to it. I'm bringing everything that I have. Educator that's just dedicated to family and relationships, especially now after the past 3 years.
And you know, even though it was in your bio and you stated it, I want to say it again. You know, you said, because I want to say it for the audience, that you said you lead as if your child is in your school.
Yep.
And that's you know, that just can't be overstated. So I just want to say that just as reinforcement for the audience out there, as you look into your mirrors and assess who you are in that leadership capacity. Hey, Dr. Roz, as an educator, who is Dr. Roz Gaskins?
Dr. Roz is a humble servant, transformational leader, problem solver. I am a champion for students and for teachers. Um, my focus is on school culture and climate and making sure I partner with other great leaders like the ones here today so that I can learn and share that information with other educators so that we can improve teacher practice that's again going to benefit our students.
I love it. I love it. You know, folks, I write, like, when I create these agendas, I type them and then I write all these notes on them. And I wrote a note to myself, put stars on both sides, and said, make sure you hit this. And I forgot. So I got to say this real quick. I mentioned a young woman by the name of Arlette Johnson. She's an assistant principal in Stratford, Connecticut, who I've met on a couple of occasions. But I keep forgetting to say, because I don't see her name pop up until today. She is the Connecticut Assistant Principal of the Year, and she's been rocking with us for 153 weeks, right? Connecticut Assistant Principal of the Year. So folks in the thread, give us some applause, because I should have written that many weeks ago, but she's on right now. Arlette Johnson, Connecticut Assistant Principal of the Year, has not missed not one of these presentations, these sessions, 153 weeks. And when I spoke in Stratford last week to the administrators, she was the one that introduced me. She read my bio, and it was just a beautiful moment. So congrats to you again, Arlette. I know you're out there, man, and I wasn't going to go another question to my guests without acknowledging, because to be Assistant Principal of the Year for an entire state, oh man, that means you putting in some work. You putting in some work. Let me go. Let me move on. So I got three veteran APs on the platform today. And each of you are highly intelligent, highly capable of doing so many different things with your lives, but you chose administration as a career option. My question to you, starting with Dr. Roz, why did you choose administration? You know, I don't know if you, I think I read you were in the classroom prior to, but why administration when there's so many things that you could do beyond that, given how stressful, how overwhelming, how taxing that an administrative leadership role can be?
You know, I didn't choose administration. I tried to run away from it as long as I could. At my core, I am a teacher. I am an instructional coach. I love working with teachers. But then, you know, I was asked to be an acting assistant principal when we lost one of our assistant principals. We didn't lose, but she, you know, had another job position. And I did that for 2 years. And I loved it. And I said, this is my path. But I'm still very dedicated to partnering with teachers and helping to build them up and developing other leaders. So that's my why, is to, again, improving school cultures one teacher leader at a time, and making sure that I'm building them up, supporting teachers, because they have the greatest impact on our students. So we can't change our school culture without helping our teachers, supporting our teachers, and getting in the classroom. So that's my why. You know, you talk about being on fire, Principal Kafele.
Yeah.
Sometimes that fire be this. So,
yeah.
You know, as I get into those classrooms, I get that fire once again, and it's burning, and that keeps me going, and I love what I do.
I love it. You know, I'm sitting in the classroom, Tracy, for a number of years. No, not a number of years, I guess 2 years. And it just started hitting me slowly but surely, because I thought I was going to be a career teacher. And then it hit me slowly but surely that I think I can take what I'm accomplishing on the classroom level into the building or onto the building level, and hence my journey to become an administrator. Tracy, what was your reason for wanting to go into administration?
I think it was similar to Dr. Roz. Uh, people were um, people actually thought that I was an administrator a lot of times,
Mm,
and so but I think my fundamental why is that I want to serve more kids. And as my current role, I often go in and still pull out small groups. And I did a small group the other day to help my seniors reach concordance so they can graduate and get their diplomas. Here in the state of Florida, you have to pass a test. And I was just so excited about being there with them. And I felt very nostalgic for not having the opportunity to get my kid fixed every day in the classroom. So I it's absolutely to be to serve more kids.
yeah, yeah. How about you, Stephanie?
Um, I did not want to be an administrator. I had people who saw it in me. But I remember once being in a school, and I've worked in schools where predominantly there weren't a lot of people who looked like me or some of our kids. And I was in a classroom walking down the hallway, and a young girl was just astonished to see that I was a teacher because I was teaching the upper grades, she was in the lower grades. And I think that that moment kind of made me think the impact that I have in my classroom, what I could do outside of my classroom is to have young people to see somebody who looks like them as a leader of a place. But it is also to have an opportunity to help other teachers to see the highlights that they have, to bring out the best in them. Because a lot of times we're so busy as administrators, but I make sure that many of the teachers, like you, when I talk to them and I visit their classrooms, like I tell them, like, you inspired me and you made me miss teaching, because you get to see so many good things when you're in and out of the classroom. But it definitely did not intend. I wanted to be a teacher, a classroom teacher for my entire career, but I had others who pushed me. And our state superintendent, Carmen Ayala, she was the former state superintendent. She was one of the persons who kind of pushed me into leadership and just shared that I should try and go further.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me holler at the audience real quick and ask you all the question out there. Why did you choose administration? The aspiring folks, why are you choosing administration? Right? Like that why has to be so prevalent, but it's got to be so deeply rooted. You got to be so deeply grounded and planted in that why. So I'm just asking you to consider, as I'm sure you do regularly, why administration to the people in that audience out there. Let's keep going. You know, folks, and I'm gonna go with Stephanie on this one first. I'm going to assume that the three of you, when you entered grad school for the first time to study administration, I'm going to make an assumption that the three of you aspired to want to become principal at some point. Didn't have to be it right away, but at some point you want to be principal. Certainly when I went into grad school, I wanted to be principal. Assistant principal wasn't on my mind. It was just principal. So then, but I understood the progression. So my question to you, starting with Stephanie, is, as you've been in this assistant principalship, is there anything about being an assistant principal that may have diminished your aspiration to become principal, or has your desire to become principal been intensified as a result of you being assistant principal?
It's definitely become intensified. Nothing to diminish it, although I love the assistant principal role. I think that it gives me an opportunity while my principal is busy. He's handling the business aspect of things. He's handling some of the other things. We're both instructional leaders. We're both in classrooms, but I get to spend that time with our kids and sometimes our high flyers. That piece is big to me, because sometimes I think that there are kids who are most misunderstood. So I think that opportunity allows me to build a rapport with them, and sometimes to remind them that, yeah, you might have made a mistake, but we got time to recover from this. So nothing has diminished me from wanting to be a principal, but that assistant principal role, I get to have a little bit more flexibility where I'm able to move around and to see and to touch more people.
Wow. Same question to where we at here, Dr. Roz. Same question. Serving as an AP, has it diminished your aspiration at all, or has it intensified?
That is a great question. The first thing that came to my mind, it depends on where I was, and which principal I was serving under. Because mentorship and coaching and who you're working with, it all matters. And I can say it has intensified currently, but I've been in situations in the past where I was like, there's no way I want to do that.
Mm.
And even when I was in grad school, I told my professor, as I'm getting my degree in administration and curriculum instruction, I said, I don't want to be an administrator based on what I've seen, my experiences. And he said, if you can make the position what you want, you don't have to do everything that you see other people do. Because I kept seeing people who were just managers. They were not instructional leaders. And so I can say now it's been intensified, and especially being a part of Principal Kafele, being a part of the virtual AP Academy has again sparked that fire once again.
I appreciate you saying that, and I'm deeply honored whenever I hear that, hearing it from you live here and hearing it from anybody else that says to me, that Saturday Academy has blessed me. It has helped me. It has assisted me in a variety of different ways. That's why it's here, and it's, as I don't get paid to do this. This is just something that I love to do. Right. Good stuff. Hey, Tracy, I've been saying for many years now, and I'm gonna keep saying it, that the assistant principalship is the most misunderstood and underutilized position in all of education. And I get to see that play out in just so many places where I go. And what I mean by that is just what I perceive as this mass confusion, this massive confusion about how best to utilize an AP. So you see so many different ways, but the one that prevails in so many places is disciplinary. So like a dean of students. But I want to give this example before I go to you. I'm thinking about just the plethora of teachers who were taking care of business in the classroom, and because on the strength of what they did in the classroom, that became the foundation for someone saying, I want this person as an AP in my school. So now this person gets the job, gets the position and becomes AP. But now all that skill that got me here, I'm not able to use that because I'm this disciplinarian all day, unless I'm with a principal who thinks differently and understands my talents and allows my talents to add value to the school. So my question is kind of open-ended to each of you. But Tracy, my question is, what are your thoughts about what I just said about the role of the AP?
So that's a very good question, and I just want to share a piece of the first question that you asked, Dr. Roz and Stephanie, and just let you know that.
Did I skip you on that?
Yeah, but
that's
okay.
No, go.
No,
yeah, I'm yeah. That's me getting anxious.
No,
go back to that because I wanted to hear from you on that. Yeah.
But I just want to share out, and this is the best place ever to ever share it out. You were the reason why I'm here. Stephanie was speaking with you back in 2016. Remember, Steph? We were outside of a session, and you were talking with Steph about how to become an assistant principal. And so I walked in on their discussion, and I just listened. And I was like, he's really not talking to her. He was actually talking to me because at that time I was a specialist. And so part of my success was rooted and grounded within that conversation from you. So I'm very grateful, and from there I was electrified to move forward up into administration. And so Absolutely. Thank you for that.
And before you answer that next one, let me say what I said to Roz. I appreciate that. And see, I'm in full disclosure, as I said about 15 minutes ago, Tracy. See, that's the way I know you, because you've complimented me on that, and I never just took the opportunity to find out that wealth of information that you have in all that you do to be great in your capacity. So now I'm getting to understand, right? But I appreciate you immensely. Take that second part about that role of that AP. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so repeat a little bit of the end so I make sure I'm answering it correctly.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there's just this massive confusion about how an AP should be utilized. You can go to a district in a district of say 10 schools, and the APs are utilized differently in all 10 schools. Of course, the needs of each of the schools could be different. But when I go to a school and I don't see that AP, there's a correlation between that AP and instruction. A correlation between the AP and coaching teachers, because the AP doesn't have time to do either, doesn't have time to visit classrooms because I've been relegated to a full-time disciplinarian. Then for me, that is problematic. Now, folks will say, but they're discipline problems. Somebody got to do it. And I say, no, you don't have discipline problems. You have problems of culture. And until you address the culture of the building, the manifestation of a sick culture will always be behavior of young people, if not staff as well. I'm just asking, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And I most definitely agree that it is a culture problem. It's an attitude, like you said in one of your books, an attitude problem, an attitude gap. All right. So I've been very, very fortunate to be with my current principal, Tracy Baptiste, and she is a model of what and how to utilize resources. And I feel that if you others can take her model and understand the necessity to be the instructional leader and to harmonize an effective culture management system for the children, then you can have what you need in that school. And I've waited since 2018 to actually be up under her leadership. And she has absolutely revolutionized how it should be done and how to appropriately use her APs, and making sure that we are the instructional facilitators of knowledge and getting into those classrooms and working with those teachers. Currently, I'm actually doing a coaching cycle with one of my ELA teachers, and I'm working with the new teachers program. And so she encouraged you to get into those classrooms and, of course, support discipline. But it's just the way how I think the principals are managing their resources to make sure that we are being who we need to be in every aspect of that school building. And so I'm very happy. I'm very grateful to be up under leadership and to learn how I can do it. So when I get my building and as I move further on up the administrative ladder, I'll be able to help others do the same. But absolutely, it's a culture and climate solution for that.
It's a powerful statement. And before I go to Stephanie on the same question, I want to share what Portia says here. Portia said APs are instructional coaches, but some APs do not know how to coach. APs need instruction as well. The reason I wanted to emphasize that, think about in the world of sports, those out here in Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and LinkedIn land, one can be an exceptional athlete in a sport. But because you're so exceptional as an athlete does not necessarily translate into you having an ability to now teach the sport, right? Coach the sport. So one could be an exceptional classroom teacher, but that doesn't mean now you can coach somebody into doing what it is that makes you exceptional. So I wanted to emphasize that because I believe wholeheartedly in the point that's being made in what Portia said. There are many of us in this business that don't know how to coach, right? Because in grad school, that's not part of the graduation requirement. I would think in so many places that you learn how to become a coach. You're learning the principles of leadership, but in terms of how I engage somebody, how I help somebody to grow, how I help someone to become better, how we take data and infuse it into the discussion, all that kind of stuff, that has to be developed. And I don't know that there's a lot of PD out there that talks about the intricacies of how to coach as opposed to visiting a classroom, right? So good stuff, Portia. I appreciate you putting that there. Let me go to Stephanie. Feel free to chime in on that, but also just your thoughts on the whole discussion on the usages of the assistant principal.
So I'm always writing stuff down whenever I'm in the academy. And I was like, oh, we need to do something for APs, because even when we do our educational leadership program, it's preparing us to be building principals. Many people don't go there first round. We stop at the AP position, and some people love AP land, and that's where they stay. And we're always going to need APs. So if that's what they want to do, so we need to help them. But the role of the AP, it is so much misunderstood because people feel like we are just there for discipline. I'm fortunate enough that I have secretaries and we have a principal. We tag team. Sometimes they can handle things, because if it's a discipline issue and I'm supposed to be in a classroom, like, I'm going to go to my classroom. I have it set in my calendar where I have time designated where I'm going to be there. I do my best to attend teacher meetings, the MTSS meetings that we have on a weekly basis. So I see teachers every single Thursday. I am in those spaces. I don't care what is happening. We haven't had a tragedy or anything happen, thank God, but I'm in those spaces because I want to know what's happening with instruction. I want to support teachers. And we have that opportunity where we can spend some time with them. But the AP role is very much misunderstood. One of the things that Portia was talking about was the development of APs, but it is seeking a mentor. I think you have to have somebody that can help you. And I don't know if you know this, Principal Kafele, but you have been a mentor. Now, you haven't been one personally, but throughout the years, like, I've just watched you, and we appreciate what you offer for us. But just different educators, develop your professional learning network outside of your school building, because sometimes when we're in a school building, we still have the same mindset. We think alike. So find people who are outside in your neighboring school districts, team up with them. And it's like, as an AP, like, get together, talk through things. And I'm struggling through this. Like, can you help me on that? Because we cannot do it on our own. If you try to do it on an island by yourself, it's not successful. A lot of times your building principal is busy because they're doing their own thing. So find your own network. It's okay.
Find your own network. But what's key to what you just said, find that mentor. Right. And I appreciate the folks who look at me as a mentor from afar. That too is an honor. The only difference between it is the ability to go one-on-one. And I'll say this too, since I'm on it. There's a lot of folks that inbox me and they ask me to be that one-on-one mentor. Now, and I'm just going to say, if any of those folks are on the call now, if I get 100 of those in a week, right, if not a couple of days, not only do I not have the time to be that person, I don't even have the time to open up the inbox message, right? Because I get flooded with that many. So I don't want folks sitting there like, man, Kafele don't respond to stuff. No, I do. But when I'm getting like what's comparable to a mailbag of stuff, it becomes difficult, right? So you got to find somebody that doesn't live on airplanes, right? To be that mentor. Because I live on jets. When I finish this, I'm gonna be on a jet. Right. That's how I live. I've been on a jet every day this week. Right. So you got to find people out there who are on the ground and can be there for you, as opposed to someone who's always in an airplane. Right. So Dr. Raj, same thing. What are your thoughts?
I mean, this is why what I do. This is my why. We talk about school culture, and the principal is responsible for being intentional about leveraging the strengths and skills of their APs. So if the principal sticks you in 4 lunch duties, then that's what you're doing all day. Putting out fires,
Yeah.
being in the hallway, you know, breaking up fights or whatever. Answering phones sometimes. I know AP sometimes sit at the front and answer phones. So you have to be intentional. And I've been trained as an instructional coach. You heard in my bio, I've been an instructional coach, been trained, and was a mentor, teacher, leadership coach for years. So it would be sad for me to be in a building and I'm only doing cafeteria duty. And
Mm.
I'm never touching teachers, never supporting teachers. And that's just a waste of my skill set. Um, but together we're stronger. So I'm all about partnering and collaborating with other administrators and to figure out, what can I do to be better? What can I do to sharpen my tool belt? Um, when we talked about finding your mentor, Principal Kafele, you are my mentor. You don't have to
I
say it, but I already deemed
appreciate
your Uncle Kafele in my mind, and I'm your favorite niece. But but you have to find, create and educate. You have to find unlock the middle. You have to find Principal Sean Hurt to
you.
learn about school culture, data. Josh Tovar talk about branding your school. You have to go out of your comfort zone and find people who can pour into you where you can learn to do better. And if you're in an environment and under a principal that's not leveraging your skill set, again, you got to go outside of that so that you can be better.
I love it. And, I got to quote Arcella, because this is real here. She said, I found a mentor from this platform when the guests say reach out, because they say that, they say, she said, when the guests say reach out, I reach out, so I love mine. She's amazing. And one of the people, I'll just say this, and I know she's on here, Dr. McKeever Jeter, who's also from the Chicagoland area, retired principal. And she was on like early back when I first started bringing on guests. And I mean, she said, reach out. And she hit me up the next day. She said, man, them folks reached out. But she was loving it. She wasn't complaining. She's like, I welcome it. And she said, she's just talking to folks. And maybe Arcella is one of the people that reached out to her. But, she's a superstar out there in the district she was in. So, folks were in good hands with her. Good stuff. Let me stay with you, Dr. Roz. As anyone that watches this platform or just knows my work, my biggest concern for AP leadership and principal leadership is the ability to spend adequate time as an instructional leader, as an instructional coach, in the truest sense of what those terms mean. That's like at my core, outside of cultural relevance in the classroom. That's at my core. So my question to you all, this is personal now, and you answer it as best you can in this space. What are your real world challenges toward being the instructional leader or instructional coach that I'm referring to? This is not a theoretical now in terms of to the audience. This I'm asking you personally. What are your real world challenges toward being that person that I'm sure you want to be? Or are you there instructionally?
Right. Well, I'm gonna be honest. We're in critical times. You've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. We have a teacher shortage. We have this narrative that teaching is such a hard job and no one wants to be a teacher. So we can't find people, good quality people in the classroom. And so sometimes in schools we react instead of being proactive because we're in critical times and there's so many emergencies that we can't be intentional. We can't focus our time and get into the classroom because we're filling classes with subs or APs are in the classroom teaching because of the teacher shortage. So I would have to say just the reality of the fact that we are in critical times and we can't be as intentional with our time and with our resources in the building because we are stretched thin. So when I tell the teacher, hey, I'm coming to support you, I'm coming to demo a lesson, you know, yeah, but then on Monday, we have 8 teachers out because mental health is such an issue, not just for our students, but also for our teachers.
Mm.
So critical times, it is so many different priorities and fires that are happening in our building that kind of takes us away from being the instructional lead that we can be and that we want to be.
And before I go to you, Tracy, on the same question, the reason I would ask a question like this is, I think, the obvious, because there are folks that are on this call live, or the folks who will watch the video later, who have real world challenges that keep them from doing the things that they know are important. They know what's important, but I just can't get to it because I got all this other stuff, and in some cases it's this other crap that I have to do, and I can't be that leader, that instructional leader, that instructional coach that I want to be. Tracy, what are some of those real world challenges that you have?
Absolutely. I do agree with Dr. Roz in terms of those state or those district mandates. They make it appear that everything's a burning house. And so you feel encumbered to make sure you get that done or get this done. And so one of my workarounds, because the work has to be done, period. Whether there's a mandate or state law, it's still got to be done, and we still got to be the best at our jobs. And so one of my workaround that, because I get it every day, is when I do pocket some time out, I absolutely am intentional about making it count. When I go in and I'm coaching or pulling out a small group or I'm working with the new teachers program, even if it's just 10 minutes of quality, I made a difference. And so that's how I kind of work around my day, because I know our days are just so full. We get there at 6:45, and then of course it's 2 o'clock and you got bus duty. And you look up, where is it gone? I hadn't had a chance to use the restroom. But if you can carve out some intentionality about this piece got to be done so that we can make the school better, then that's how I'm working around that piece. Because I do have all those things to be done, but you do need to make those connections with those students and those teachers so that you can give them hope to move forward.
And I like how you said it, at the end of the day, it's got to be done. The work's got to be done. So we got to get the work done. But the challenge becomes, but how do we figure out how to get that other piece done that we know is going to move that academic needle, as Sean Hurt would say, right? Good stuff. Stephanie, jump on in here. What are some of those real world challenges?
It's the time constraints. Our SEL challenges are tough. Our kids, our staff, they're struggling. And so that makes it, because a person in crisis, like, that's going to take precedence over anything, because I want to make sure that staff member, that child, whatever they need, that we're there for them. But each of those things take time. And if in my real world, if I had a choice, like, I'd be in classrooms working with kids in small groups. That doesn't always happen. I might be visiting classrooms all the time, but I don't get a chance to work with teachers when they need a small group, because they need another person to work with a group of kids or to pull some kids. So it's that time constraints, because we do have federal, state, local things that have to get done. It's part of what we do. And just the SEL piece, I think that for me lately, I'm seeing that's where people, when staff is struggling over the last couple of weeks, like, it's the SEL pieces. They're tired. This is that time of the year. So it's those things, but just being available for teachers, trying to make sure that, like, when I do visit their classrooms, I give them some feedback. So because that I'm not just popping in and popping out just so they can see my face and just say, like, I did it, check. No, let me give you some feedback, because most of them want the feedback. So making sure that I make that time for them, because as a teacher, when somebody came in, I wanted you to, what could I do differently? How can I improve? How can I take this to the next level?
You know, let's when you mention the SEL, let me go off script. Because of the work I do, and I'm in a lot of different places, I'm in places where the word where the words social emotional learning or SEL are forbidden, or I'm in places where the word equity is forbidden. I'm literally instructed not to mention those words until I explain to them, until I get an explanation from them as to what they are. Because typically when folks ask me not to engage in that, they don't know what they are, right? So then when I put it out there, well, let's talk about what it is and what it's not. Oh, okay, well, so that thing. So what I want, this is for anybody. Anybody wants to jump in. There's somebody on this call right now watching live, or who will watch the video later, who is in one of those states or one of those districts where SEL is forbidden in the building because that's something for the home. That's something for the parent. What might you say to that leader that's watching right now of how they get around that, alleviate that? So because the challenges are real, they're there. How do I address this without violating what the parents expect of me as it relates to keeping SEL out of the school? Anybody?
So I just want to just say that my state, the state of Florida, is indicative.
Oh yeah, I wasn't going to say it. I was going to let you do that.
Yeah, is indicative of the current climate and culture, and it's practiced with due diligence and surgical precision from the government on down. And so, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
And you have to be strategic in how you do it. Even if you have coined different terminology that mean the same thing, you still got to do it. And there's always a way to do it. And there's always the Underground Railroad is still open. And so, however you find your best fit to do it, it's got to be done. And so that's how I operate, as if there are no barriers, but within the policy. And there's always a way to do that.
You said something, Tracy. I ain't never heard this before. You said the Underground Railroad is still open. I've never heard that before. Like
still open.
how you expressed that. Yeah, I got to use that, man. The Underground Railroad is still open. And see, it's interesting because they'll tell me, you can't do equity here, right? I said, okay. And then I go in there and I hit them hard with equity, but I never mentioned the word equity. They standing up there giving me a standing ovation and cheering loud. And I'm in the car riding to the airport saying, they don't even know what hit them, man.
They don't even know it.
They cheering. Woo! Even the one that told me not to do it. And I'm like, I just hit y'all with 6 hours of equity, man.
Right.
So you just had a misunderstanding of what it was. Did anybody else want to jump in there? Because I didn't give a name to. I just said whoever.
Yeah, I just want to just jump in and just say, great teachers, great educators. We've been doing SEL, DEI before those things were a thing.
Yeah.
So we just got to go back to what we used to do. And like she said, just you don't have to call it what it is. But that's what great teaching is. That's what great leadership is. You have to reach the child where they are. You have to help that child so that they can be successful by any means necessary. So again, we don't have to call it what it is, but I love it. I love the Underground Railroad is still open.
It's still open.
And I'm in total agreement. I don't need to say anything else, but we have been doing it for years. Like, we are good as educators at our craft. And we don't have to call it what it is, but we're going to get the work done.
Going to get it done. Now, I'm going to say this before I go to the next question.
Principal.
Yeah.
Principal, I just want to share one more thing.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm on the state board for African American History Task Force.
Oh, you
here
are?
In Florida. Yes. Wow. And so I've been on there for several years. And so one of the ways that we are navigating the current climate is switching terminology and just sharing that we are teaching truth. And so that's a way that the task force is able to push out critical information and still support the state mandate, which they're trying to change.
Yeah.
But until it's changed, we're just switching the terminology. So, absolutely, if anybody's listening, just change the terminology, and that will help you continue and champion the work.
Love it. Quick commercial now, folks out on the call here. You know, it's 12:07 Eastern. We still got a little ways to go. Y'all hang with us. But I want to do this quick commercial now. I got these three extraordinary women, assistant principals, dropping all this knowledge. But Tracy Davis Oliver's got that Go Lead Women's Leadership Association Conference annual meeting coming up April 4th through 6th in Orlando, right? So that's coming up like next week. So again, the Go Lead Women's Leadership Association, their first annual meeting. If you'd like to join, you're down there in the Florida area, Orlando area, go to her page, Tracy Oliver, spelled as you well, Tracy Oliver. Just do it that way and hit her up, inbox her, send a friend request. That way, it's more of a guarantee she'll see the inbox when you're friends. So hit her up and see if you can come on down to that leadership and get more of her than what you're getting here today. All right, let's go, y'all. Is it so therefore, and this I'm gonna keep this one open, quite a few of them. I want to just throw them at you and you jump in here. I'm not gonna call your name. Is it safe to say then, in a perfect world, that the bulk of your time would be spent as instructional leaders or coaches in a perfect world? That's for anybody. Jump on in here.
Most definitely. In a perfect world, when school starts at 8:05 and kids are in advisory, that's where I want to be. I'd like to be in advisory from 8:05 and have some time because we have to still take care of emails. You have to take care of phone calls, all those kinds of things. But yeah, in a perfect world, I would be in classrooms. Out of the 6 hours that we're in school, I'd be in them for 4 hours.
Yeah, perfect world. Anyone else want to jump in on that one?
Definitely in the classroom, supporting teachers, planning lessons, analyzing data with them, learning from teachers. We have awesome teacher leaders and mentor teachers, so creating those POCs and collaborative groups, and also working with parents, and building our parents to be more involved and leveraging their strengths as well, and getting parents involved in the community. So that's something that would be the perfect world. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm with you. For me, that's the perfect world, that I can be that person. But I'm gonna tell you something before, if Tracy wants to jump in on that one. And when once I became really seasoned as a principal, not my rookie years, but once I really became seasoned in my principalship, that perfect world I conceptualized became my perfect world. But it took me years to really figure out how to make this thing happen, right? So it comes with time. So to somebody out there in the audience, you can't become impatient after the first couple of years and you find you just don't have the time to be in classrooms. It takes time to figure it out, even with the mentor, even with the experience. Each school is a different situation. So you got to give yourself that time to figure out, how do I evolve into that person that I want to be? Did you have anything, Tracy, with that, or want me to move on?
You can move on. I agree with everything you guys said.
Appreciate it. So therefore, folks, staying consistent with that, since that world is not perfect per se for probably not too many of us in real time, is it possible that we can create that world in our schools? And if so, what are some of your ideas of how that would be? Anybody?
Okay. Well, one of the things that I'm currently doing is being intentional, like recognizing the obstacles, like what's standing in my way, and how can I fix it? How can I remove this barrier? If I block out these, times on my schedule to be in the classroom, but something keeps popping up, then I have to, what you say, hold up that mirror. Why am I letting these other barriers take priority of getting in the classroom? So that's something that I'm being more intentional about, is about finding other solutions for those problems. Because those other things are real, but someone else can do it. So let's delegate it, Maybe I need to, fix some things in our structure, in our school where someone else can handle it. We have assistants and aides in the hallway. Maybe I can get, strengthen their skill set to handle certain fires, but I don't have to always be that person. So that's something that I'm doing. And then next school year, we already putting some things in place. Again, you have to be intentional, recognize those barriers that's keeping you from being in the classroom, that's keeping you from meeting with parents on a regular basis, and then removing them.
Before the next person goes, let me just talk about Kylie for a second. She said, my building changes principles like underwear, very disheartening. And it just doesn't work when every year, every 2 years, there's a new principal. When I left my last school, I was ready to leave it after year 4. But I stayed because I felt I was doing them young people a disservice. I was ready, I wanted to live this life that I'm living now. But I stayed an additional 2 years, right? And then, matter of fact, what happened was the next year, year 5, I won the Milken Award. And then I said, well, I ain't leaving now either. So I stayed another year. And then I brought my students together in the gym, and I told them, I said, y'all know I'm a speaker. You've been knowing this because you hear me speaking to y'all all the time, and you know what I do. I said, I gotta make that transition, and they were good with it, because I didn't like just disappear at the end of the year. I called them together 2 months before the end of the school year and said, look, y'all, I got to transition. I got to follow my other dream. So they were good with it. But this here, what Kylie is saying, yeah, how do we build something when the principal is always moving on or the principal is being pushed out? Perhaps there's something with the way that they're recruiting and hiring principals that they keep getting it wrong over the years, that they keep bringing in the wrong people, right? So, or maybe the training's not there. We put them in the position and now you're on your own. I happen to know a little something about that, right? You're on your own. Do you? Well, you can't do you. There's certain support that you need from that district as you're growing into this very complicated, complex role of principal leadership. Any other thoughts on that other question? You probably forgot what it was because I've been rambling. But any other thoughts, or else I'll just move on.
I think one of the things that you have to do, you mentioned talking with kids, but talk with staff. As far as this is my first year in the building that I'm in. I've been in my other district for 22 years. But this year has been kind of a learning process, kind of figure out what's going on. But at the end of the year, I'd like to talk with staff and look, what are your concerns? What are some things that we can do? Because they want you back in those learning spaces. So what are some things that we can change about our structure or adapt? Because we cannot have it where I'm called out to deal with something that's undisciplined. But as we're a community, and I cannot do this by myself, right. Because that's a short way or a quick way to failure. But find out, like, give them some teacher efficacy, build that leadership within the staff so that you don't have to call an administrator for everything. Like I'm going to trust your professional judgment. Go ahead and make that decision. I'll support you on it as long as we know we're staying within what's best for kids.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And I'm gonna throw this one out there to anyone that wants to grab it as well. When you all are in your deep, quiet thoughts, deep, quiet moment, and you're just reflecting and assessing who you are as assistant principal, is there anything within the work that eats away at your soul where you conclude this aspect of my work must change immediately? Anybody have anything? And let me throw mine out. Mine was the amount of time I spent as a disciplinarian. So in my quiet moment, my reflective moment, and I'm not saying this stuff, I'm using words I can't use on here. This crap must change. I cannot go on like this, being this disciplinarian. But it doesn't have to be confined to discipline. It could be so many other aspects of the work. And I'm just curious, what is there anything with your work that it's got to change?
So I And I absolutely feel you on that. Um, I think my and I call it helps me when I call it stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me to kind of compartmentalize it in my mind so that I can be able to work through it. But I think it's what my here again, my state is quite unique in terms of moving the social and emotional and the climate culture of the country forward. I think we are in the lead with that in terms of moving the climate. And I think that's my biggest grievance are the state policies and the state mandates that we're bound against. And it makes our work much harder in terms of being equitable for all students here in the state of Florida. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves for me. And I know that's a big pill to swallow, but that would be it for me. Those mandates that are carved out by our current governor.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I'm reading about it every day about what's going on in Florida and how it may impact the nation one day.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to jump in?
For me, what Sheikah Houston pointed out, Principal Houston, was the punitive aspect of discipline. I love it when it is more of a restorative, because a lot of times, if that relationship between the student and the staff member or the student and another classmate has not been repaired, we're simply going to repeat that process over and over again. It's going to come about again. So for me, if we could change, and it's tough to change the mindset of staff of let's move from the punitive, like they need to be suspended or move from instruction. That's probably not helping that kid. Like, let's move to a point of where we restore, we repair that relationship and get them back in there. And don't penalize for behavior that sometimes with middle schoolers is typical middle school behavior stuff. But how do we repair and get them to understand this is why we want to change the behavior pattern?
Good stuff. Roz, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I was just about to comment the same with Dr. Houston. That's my soror. I think she's my twin sister in real life. But I was thinking the same thing. Actually, I was on a Zoom call with our leadership team yesterday and with some of our students talking just about this. We're trying to move away from, this punitive system and to be more, focusing on the positive behaviors and be more restorative. And unfortunately, the feedback that we got from some of our teacher leaders is that teachers are burnt out. They don't feel like doing all of that. It's just another thing. And I'm like, well, if we focus on these other things, we can stop having all these suspensions, have all these behavior issues because the students it will build the positive culture that we want in our schools. So again, we got to change the mindset of our teachers and fellow leaders to say, hey, we got to find another way. We just can't keep suspending the students all the time. It's not working.
Yeah, yeah. And AJ Bianco, true story. I'm talking to you, but it's everybody's listening. I meant to send you a message yesterday to invite you on for later in the year. So just be on the lookout for it. I'll inbox you. I want you on this platform, right? Because I think you're still in your AP role. So I'm talking to you. I'm like Kanye. I'm talking to everybody like as if I'm talking to you as if I forget that line. Y'all know the verse. So anyway. If I wasn't on live, I could spit it right. So anyway, but anyway, I want to flip that question I just threw at you like this. As you reflect deeply on your practice, right? And assess who you are as leader. What's that thing or things when you're thinking about you and you say, that part of my leadership, I got that. I got that part. I feel good about that part. Of course, we always can grow, right? We can always grow and get better in whatever we do. But that part about my leadership, yeah, I feel good about myself there. Anybody?
I'm gonna go. My relationship building. That's the most important piece because we don't have to be best friends. We don't have to go out together, but that respect and that staff, students, family, community know, like, I'm here. Like, this is me. You get the same version of me. I'm consistent with things. I'm fair. But that piece of it is like getting to know staff and being new on a campus where I'd come in and the AP had been there 8 years before me. It was different. So I told the staff, I said, it's going to take some time. But I said, you will get to know me. What you see is what you get. I'm real. I'm authentic. I am who I am. But I take the time to get to know people where they are. I take the time to get to know parents. Sometimes we have parents who they're advocating for their kid. I get it. But just that relationship piece, that is something that I know that's a gift that I have, and I'm going to continue to work on it.
Love it. That relationship piece. Anybody else want to jump in?
I was just going to say, not only relationships, but also just creating, getting buy-in from teachers and from parents. And it's so funny because I've been in situations where my team will use me to kind of to share bad news with staff or with parents. And they're like, go ahead, Dr. Gaskins, you can do it, because I know how to spin it and get them on board. And so that's just one of my strengths. Again, being collaborative and networking are my strengths, my superpower.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I think everybody jumped in on that one. Here's a question that I grapple with throughout my career. I think, how do you, and I'm speaking to you again on this one. I'm not asking you philosophically. I'm speaking directly to you. How do you avoid getting stuck into routine leadership or monotonous leadership as an AP, as opposed to constantly evolving as a leader? Anybody jump on in here?
I think with myself, I have great accountability partners and thought partners, and so I welcome feedback. I ask the tough questions, and look, and I'm very transparent. I don't know this. I'm getting stuck on this. I'm fearful of taking this step. Help me. So I have people who pour into me. I have people who observe me and give me feedback. And I'm part of a great admin team. And we have our leadership team meetings. We have our admin meetings. But then we have our AP meetings where we debrief and we give each other the business and we give it to each other straight. So you have to have people that can kind of build you up and give you honest feedback.
Let's stay there for a second, Dr. Roz, because I love what you said about bringing accountability partners, thought partners into your space, because this thing called leadership, particularly at the AP level, but not confined to the AP level, this can become very routine. Yes. Like the expression, I can do this with my eyes closed, but that's not a good thing. Mm-hmm. Right. I understand why, when people say that, I understand the intent. Right. But that means you're just in this little routine. It's like AI robot. You're just doing the same thing every day at the same time and so forth. And at some point you're going to burn out because there's nothing interesting, because there's nothing new happening. It's just you're in this routine, you're in this rut, you're monotonous with what you do. But if you got that person in your life, as you just said, that accountability partner, that thought partner that can put some fire under you and like, yo, you still operating the way you did 10 years ago. When you gonna grow? If that's a real relationship, a real partnership where both are being honest with one another. Now, if I'm faking the funk and I'm not being honest with you, right, then that person doesn't really know what I'm doing. But if I'm being honest, man, you ain't grow. You still doing what you used to do.
Exactly.
Right. So we need those people in our spaces. I love what you said. Anybody, Tracy, Stephanie, whomever, jump on in here.
I have accountability partners within my district, outside of my district as well. I am adamant about my PD. So adamant that most times, because I go to so much, I pay for my own. Mm-hmm. Because it's about me and my leadership. Yes, my district does pay for some, but for me, I do some of the summer times in July. I'm using that time to travel, and I'm going to PD so that I don't become stagnant. I do get fresh ideas. I don't have the same thing that I'm doing all the time. And sometimes I do things that are outside of what the district offers, because we're all doing the same thing. Let me go seek my own stuff. I know what I need. to help me become a better leader. But that the reflective piece and just having, I have a superintendent who will check in just to see how I'm doing. Assistant super will check in. So they are my accountability partners, and they're real. If I need some growth on something, they'll tell me. And I had to get out of my feelings if they say something, because it's like, it's just to help me become a better person. Don't take it emotional. Don't be so emotional about it. Just take it. This is going to help me become a better leader.
And I remember how elated I was to see you at the NAESP conference when I keynoted that summer. I think it was like 2020 or something, whatever, 21 or whatever it was.
I was still teaching.
Yeah. And I was glad to see you in the building, right? Anything, Tracy?
Yeah. So I think on what really stuck with me is don't become stagnant. And we can absolutely, as creatures of habit, we do as part of our makeup. But if you can always champion a need, there's always something that you can and improve on within yourself or within your building. And if you can be proactive in looking at assessing those needs and champion those needs, I think you will suspend that boredom, and you can kind of that could be the panacea for stagnation. And that's really one of the reasons why I started my women's leadership nonprofit, because there is a need for that. So I'll be finishing up my dissertation in July, and part of the research says that there's not enough opportunities for women, particularly women who are in marginalized communities, to be able to demonstrate their gifts and their talents.
Yeah.
And so if you can tap into that need and be the servant that we all should be, we probably won't be stagnated, and we probably would be so tired, like principal is on different planes.
Yeah.
And it's not enough for you to go around, because there's enough, when Jesus was looking at the fields, he said, oh my God, it's a lot of cotton.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things to take care of. So if you can get into your mindset, be other minded, and match your superpowers to that need, I think you'll be a much happier, much more well-rounded, more developed person.
Good stuff. I got to the folks out there. I got 3 more questions to go. And I want to remind folks we are live, Virtual AP Leadership Academy, week number 153. And I got 3 dynamite guests here sitting here. Tracy, let me stay with you. Time management is a huge challenge for not only assistant principals, but I think just people in general. I find a way to talk about time management with probably every presentation, every topic that I do, because it's just an important topic. But for me, in all aspects of my professional life, my days as a substitute teacher, a teacher, an assistant principal, a speaker, consultant, author, all that stuff, time management is at the core of my effectiveness. Someone was asking me yesterday somewhere, like, well, how do you find the time to write all these books, right? And I said, it's very simple. I'm on airplanes a lot. So instead of sitting there daydreaming or listening to music, I write. So I got a 4-hour flight tonight, this afternoon, and I'm going to start writing the next book the one that's coming out in May. Ain't even out yet till May 5th. But I'm going to start that next one because it comes out May of 2024. So I'll start that on the plane today. So I'm saying that to say, how I organize my time matters. However, we can't have the time management conversation without also talking planning and organization simultaneously. So planning, organization, and time management. So I want you to do this. I'm moving the personal stuff now, and I'm back to just hearing you all's thoughts and advice for our viewers. Talk to us about the significance of planning, organization, and time management to effective school leadership. I'm starting with you, Tracy.
So through my experiences, I understand that there for me, there are two things that I needed to combine in order to be efficient and effective. And so you need quality production or accuracy, and you need to do it timely. So if you could combine speed and accuracy, you really don't have any components or any barriers. And so I've developed a system, like we all do, that I've combined those two elements so that I can maximize my time to 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 produce the quality work that I need to produce for my school, for my principal, and for myself. And so you really need to carve out some time in your personal headspace
Yeah.
to develop a system for you that works. And so I developed my own personal four step system that I implement when I have to meet a deadline or I have a task or I need to do something personal. So, for example, I'm managing my dissertation and actually putting on this conference. And so I really had to be very intentional and sanction my time and allocate it to different tasks in order to make sure whatever it needs to be done and make sure that the outcome is productive. And so that's how I do it personally for myself. And I hope I answered it right, but
Did you and I mean, two things. I mean, that word system is key. But then you just told me something else I didn't know. You said your dissertation. Wow. I had no idea. So you've been obviously you've been in this program for a minute, and now you working on the dissertation. So and so you consider your entrepreneurship, your AP, of assistant principalship, your personal life, your parent life, your wife life, all that stuff has to be organized, right? It's that managed, that time has to be managed in order, and particularly working on a doctorate, in order for all of that to be able to work and you keep your sanity at the same time, so good
I think
stuff.
so.
Let me go to Stephanie. What do you think, Stephanie?
I'm still working on mine.
Wow, good
I'm,
stuff.
I'm forever changing everything. I now work further away from home, so my travel time has increased. My personal life has to be, I have to have those things intact for everything else to go right. I have to take that time to work out. I have to go to my Pilates. I have to go to my yoga. I have to ride my bike. I have to do something because if I don't get those things done, like nothing else is going to work out. My family is important to me, so I spend that time. But as far as work is concerned, my weekend time, Saturday, Sunday, I kind of make sure, like going through my calendar, like looking for my week, like what's headed up for the week. My principal and I, we work together. We have each other's calendars. So I live by my Google Calendar. If it's in there, that piece is there. But for kids, when it does has something to do with a kid or with a teacher, I make sure that I show up for it because I want them to know that they are important to me in my time. But I am forever changing and growing in my time management piece. So have I perfected it? Absolutely not. Still working on it.
That's good stuff. And before I go to Roz, let me just holler at the audience out there, folks. This is just your brother from Jersey reinforcing it. You can't do this at a high level and be unorganized at the same time. You can't do this at a high level and you have no grasp of time. You can't do this at a high level and you're winging it as opposed to having a plan of action. You got to plan, you got to be organized, you got to be able to manage your time, or else your time will manage you, right? And therefore it will render you probably ineffective. And that's why I asked the question. So you got to have a firm handle on that. Planning, organization, time management. Dr. Raz, jump on in here.
I love it. So one of the things that I tell people, coaches have coaches, and I have a coach, and my coach has beaten me up plenty of times because I was not organized, and I was trying to do 50 things in a day, and we only have 24 hours. So if it's not in my calendar, it does not exist. So I put my prayer time, my devotional time with family, date night, all my meetings, everything has to be in my calendar. Workout time, uh, you know, everything has to be in my calendar, and I have to schedule it because I will miss so much, and trying to do everything. If you're not intentional, you're going to miss things and things that are very important. So, when they talk about a parent meeting, be like, oh, Dr. Gaskins, you missed it. Like, oh man, I forgot and put it on my schedule, on my calendar. So again, it has to show up on my calendar. And I'll have conversations with teachers in the hallway, and I'm like, send me a calendar invite. And that's something that I do because I'll forget. Even if it's not a meeting, just send me a calendar invite so we can come back to the table and have this discussion again because it's that important. So again, I have to be intentional and use the resources that I have to keep me organized.
And I don't know, my staff has access to my calendar. So they can put things on my calendar and that they know that that's how we do it in school. Like put it on my calendar, even if it's a 5-minute conversation. That way I can make sure I make it around to your classroom by that time.
Yes.
You
And principal, just wanted to say that the ability to compartmentalize outcomes or productions, I think that's another key to it as well, making sure that your initiatives are not crossing over
yeah.
and getting you tripped up. And so ladies, absolutely that calendar is really your bedrock for making things happen. So thank you for emphasizing that. Absolutely.
You young heads always embarrass me when you start talking calendar and hold up a phone because I'm and see like there's been a few young principals. I've been in their office, when I'm working at their school, and then I take out my calendar if we're trying to schedule something, and it's that big 8.5 by 11 book, right? And they like Kafele, and everyone does it. Like you can't be serious, right? Like the esteem I have for you, and you just took that out your bag.
But you have to do what works for you. I still have a paper calendar too, though. So I still
I
write
feel
things
good
down.
about that, right?
I do write things down, but my staff knows like that's for my personal stuff. So I can schedule in my time with my daughter, scheduling time to work out, but my phone is
See, I gotta see 30 days in one time, man. I gotta open it and I see the 30 together. I gotta see it that way. I can't do this. I tried.
I think it's
I
something
don't even
about
want to
writing
type
it
this stuff,
down.
man. I'm trying to type this, man, because I can't type text messages. So I'm trying to type it. I'm like, nah. I look, the young heads could laugh at me, but I got my nice 2023 calendar and it's big. I'm old school. I'm 62. What can I say? Now, somebody on here, they're going to say, well, I'm 75 and I use this. I know. I get it. I got two more for y'all. Listen, I like this question here. What's that thing? And I'm gonna call your names on this one. What's that thing that you are so passionate about in your AP leadership, but for whatever the reason, you cannot implement it as an AP? It is not going to become your reality until you are a principal. What's that thing that's like, man, if I could only, but for it, a variety of certain different reasons, you just can't. I want to give you mine. One of them was real simple and one of them was complex. The simple one, the ability to take the microphone, I'll pretend this pen is a mic, to take the microphone and speak my message every morning before classes begin. I couldn't do that as an AP, but it's that first day of school, I'm a principal, I grabbed that microphone and went off, right, with my motivational message to start the day. And I did that for the next 14 years. I couldn't do it as an AP. So, but the other thing was when I launched my young men's empowerment program and subsequently my young women's empowerment program, I just didn't, that wasn't going to happen as an AP. I needed to be the principal. But it was in my soul every day, both of those things, among other things. What's that thing for you, Dr. Roz, that you said, man, when I become an AP, I'm going right to it. I mean, when I become a principal, I'm going right to it.
It's so much. I have a long list, but
Oh, okay.
I'll narrow it down. So one of the things I'm passionate about is teacher leadership. And so we always talk about, the new teacher academy, and that's something that I'm passionate about, and coaching and supporting new teachers, but also having academies for teacher leaders, and veteran teachers to support our teachers to help build that collaborative culture. But you have to have a structure and systems in place to devote time for that. And if you're in a school building where we don't have time for teachers to come together to work on their craft and do professional development, it's not going to happen. So that's something that, again, a principal has to be intentional about in creating those systems, but definitely focusing on developing teacher leaders.
Developing teacher leaders. I love it. Let's go to Stephanie.
One of my things that I would have kids do is I would have my students do my morning messages. We have middle schoolers, like let them do the morning message, and not always that kid. Like pick the kid that's quiet and like we don't always see from them, hear from them. Bring those skills out in those kids. Another thing that I would do is, especially in the middle school, start tapping into those kids who are saying like, "Oh, I want to be a teacher." We're gonna tap into you right now, and we're gonna walk with you through high school, and we're gonna walk with you through college to make sure that we can bring back our own, because people are not flocking to education right now. So when we hear kids say that, like, "I'm gonna walk with you," you say you want to be a teacher, or when kids are saying like, "What made you want to be a principal?" They're curious about it. Like, let me walk with you. So we can build up those students from that way.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Tracy.
When I do get my building, one of the initiatives I would like to do is what I call the King's Kingdom, where I take all my resources for 3 years and focus on the boys in my building. And if I can get my men right and up and running and change the culture within my boys, the girls will follow suit.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my passionate areas that I would like to do.
Yes, you sound like me. I wanted that thing so bad, man. It stayed on my mind. And as soon as I became principal, I said, let's go. Let's begin this program. I got one more for y'all. And this is you speaking to the audience. There's an aspiring AP watching us right now, either live or the recording, and they're hungry and they want to be an AP badly. What would be your piece of advice to that person about preparation for the assistant principalship that they may not necessarily be receiving in grad school? Let's start with Tracy.
Me? Hold on. I'm trying to turn my light back on. Get somebody else.
Let me go to Dr. Roz, then I'll go to Stephanie. Dr. Roz.
All right. There's so much. I would definitely say, in order to prepare for this AP role, you definitely want to, make sure, as a teacher, you're passionate about your four walls, about that classroom. And you're having an impact on your students. And it wasn't until I went outside of that and started doing, leading in other capacities, collaborative planning, being a department chair, facilitating professional development. And then I became passionate about my entire school and helping other teachers. So I tell teachers, if you want to be a leader and taking that next step, find out what it takes to be a leader of other aspects of the school. Because sometimes we have blinders on and we only know what the issues are in our classroom and just that little bubble. But step outside of that and, shadow other leaders, shadow other teacher leaders or assistant principals, just to kind of figure out what are the issues are and how we're moving in that work. And to see if that's something you really want to do. Because sometimes what you're reading in the book is not the reality. So when I started shadowing other leaders and stepping outside of my classroom, I was like, wow, okay, there's a whole nother world out here. And there's so many other issues. and concerns, and how can I serve? What can I do? What can I bring to the table? So really, you want to really step out of your comfort zone and learn and from other leaders.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice for that AP that's looking up, that wants to be in that aspiring AP that wants to be in that position one day. Let me. You ready, Tracy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm ready.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think if you are in that position and you really want to be go into leadership, I think the first thing you need to do is have a conversation with your building leader. And if you have a good relationship with that person, they can absolutely be your biggest advocate. And and so if you're gonna go into this role, we all need mentors and we all need advocates.
Yeah,
So get you a mentor and get you an advocate. They could be the same person, but you certainly need both of those. And then, like Dr. Ross said, start exploring what that will look like for you and develop your plan and just go for it. Step out, just do it. Go lead.
yeah, yeah.
Go
Go
lead.
lead, go lead. Mentor and advocate, and I like that distinction, Tracy, because even though it could be the same person, and not necessarily meaning the same thing.
Right.
So we all need advocates in our lives, I think. I left that up there, Pastor Morris M. Flomo. I keep telling y'all, man, we worldwide, man. We ain't confined to the U.S., man.
Right.
Out there in Monrovia, Liberia, West Africa. I appreciate you, Pastor Flomo. I appreciate you. You blessed me with just being here today. We worldwide, man. I don't know how folks are learning about us, but they learning about us. So keep on telling folks to tune in. We relevant. I don't care what country, what continent this platform is relevant. Stephanie.
I think as an aspiring AP or aspiring administrator, you have to find opportunities to lead. Because a lot of times you see on different social media platforms, people are like, I'm going to interviews and I'm not getting anything. Ask your building principal. And if your building principal says no, talk to people in other areas that you know and get those leadership opportunities. It might be for summer, you might have to do it unpaid, just volunteering to do the summer school program,
Yeah.
volunteering to walk with that person who's doing the lead administrator. Because summer school is a smaller realm, smaller group of students, but attend conferences, talk, communicate, get out there, and let people know if you've been in a district and you're not getting any place in your own district, you might need to step outside your district. It might be okay to do that, but just talk to people and let them know, like, I'm looking for some opportunities to lead. Go to conferences and see if you can do anything there to help them get your name out there.
I love it. You just took me someplace on that one, Stephanie. When I was going through my internship, I asked the district, could I be one of the summer school principals? So I was still hadn't served as an administrator yet. I was going to soon, but I was this summer school principal. So one of the candidates, they sent me people to interview, right? And I'm like, wow, I'm still teaching, but they got me interviewing in this quasi administrative position. So I interviewed this young lady who's going to be a guest on here, I think April or May. Her name is Dr. Marion Wilson. She's superintendent of all the schools on Staten Island, New York City. And I interviewed her, was impressed by her, and recommended that they hire her as a teacher in East Orange, New Jersey. That was back in the 90s. So now you fast forward, this person that I saw something in as this young educator. Now she's superintendent of the entire borough of Staten Island, New York City. And so you just never know. You just gotta speak up, as you're saying, and see if you can get yourself in some of these positions. So summer school principal, it wasn't easy work because I didn't have any leadership experience,
Right.
but opportunity knocked. Somebody wrote me the other day, might have been yesterday. They said, this was face to face. Somebody said to me, they're offering me a position as a principal, but I've only been an AP for 1 year. Yeah, that person might be watching now because this happened this week. They said, what do I do? I said, look, opportunity just knocked. You walk through that door. I don't care. I don't care if you only been on the job a week. You don't know when that door is going to open again. And now you got to do everything you all been saying. You got to find them mentors. You got to find them advocates. You got to find them thought leaders. You got to find them accountability partners. And you got to align yourself with people who can teach you along the way. But you don't know when that door is going to open again. So you got to walk through it right now. Right. So if that person's on here, I'm telling you now on this platform, take that job. Right.
Go lead.
Go, there it is. Go lead. Go lead. Look here, y'all. Let's go to these BAM impact questions. I got, normally it's 20 questions for the one person, but I got 3 on. So we're going to go Tracy 7, Stephanie 6, Dr. Roz 6, and then all of you this last one. So one word answer, 1 sentence maximum. Anything over, I'm going to say stop. Right. So here we go. Tracy, here we go. Is education on the right path for underserved children?
No.
Can true equity occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students?
Yes, with planning.
Does Tracy Oliver's work contribute to the progress we desperately need in education?
Absolutely.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
It'll be the same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
Because there is a need to serve.
What fires you up within the work that you do?
The opportunity to impact someone.
And what is it about this work that you love most?
The outcomes.
The outcomes. Stephanie, what do you dislike about the work you do?
The constraints by the government.
What has been your greatest victory in this work?
Kids who struggle, seeing them make a difference.
What has been your greatest mistake in this work?
My first years of an AP during the pandemic.
And what has been your greatest challenge in this work?
Sometimes winning to parents over to our side.
Are you proud, now watch this, are you proud of your first year as an AP?
Even with my mistakes, yes, I am.
And lastly, who inspires you in the work you do?
Oh my goodness, my parents.
Good stuff. Dr. Roz, what are you reading right now? Book, blog, article, anything?
Ooh, I read a lot of Principal Kafele and the Bible to keep me fired up.
I hear that. I appreciate you. What book do you recommend for our viewers?
Oh, I have to talk about my book, Set Your Team on Fire. But
yeah. Say it again. Say it again.
Set Your Team on Fire is my book. But also Principal Kafele, any of his books definitely helped me as well.
I appreciate you. What do you want to, Dr. Roz, what do you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
Ooh, building that perfect school culture and environment for students.
Are you satisfied with where you are professionally now?
No.
What could you say to a viewer out there who continues to face closed doors?
Keep knocking on the doors. Keep going. Kick them in if you have to. Keep trying.
And what could you say to a viewer out there who's lost their fire?
Tap in to the people who are on fire.
There you go. There you go. And then lastly, and then I'm going to ask all 3 of you this one, but I'm going to start with you, Dr. Roz. If Dr. Roz Gaskins was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Servant leader.
Servant leader. Tracy, if Tracy Oliver was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
We are better together.
And Stephanie, if Stephanie Gage was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Steadfast.
Steadfast. I love it, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. This was a dynamite conversation. I loved every second of it. I think that folks loved it as well. Folks, you know how we do here. The ones who are veterans, those who are rookies, just put your emojis up. If you liked what you heard, if you benefited from what you heard, if you can use what you heard, if it wasn't time well, if it was time well spent, give me some emojis, some fire, some bombs, some hearts, some praise, some whatever, gems, some diamonds, whatever it is you use. Just, you know how we do, man. This is the way we applaud and thank our guests every week. Yeah, I see them coming, man. Keep them coming, keep them coming, keep them coming. And let me get my emoji which is my bat, man. And you know, y'all hit it out the park, man. Y'all hit it grand slam after grand slam, man. Y'all was just dropping this information. I'm so happy about everything you said and the opportunity to have you on here today and share this information. Tell them how they can get in touch with you, your social media handles and all that kind of thing. Let me start with Tracy because I want you to reiterate the conference.
Thank you, Principal. So I put my website in the chat. I'll put it there again. It's the Go Lead Women's Leadership Conference. And
Marshika, you know I messed up by not getting her website first. That's a private joke. Go ahead, Tracy.
That's okay.
She taught me.
It's in the chat. First. So if you're able to come and hang out with me, and we're great time of learning. Thank you, Kimberly. That's one of my executive team members. And
is this the one I should have up?
Yeah. Okay. That's one. And Kim put the actual website. That's the link tree. So yeah, if you able to come and hang out with us. Don't let the membership fee be a barrier. Reach out to me. We can work it out.
There you go. As soon as she puts that up, I'll put it up. Let me go to Dr. Roz because I know you got product out there. So go ahead and let them know.
So on Facebook and all the platforms, Roz Gaskins, the Village Leadership Group is on all social media at the Village LG. So yeah, you can find out information about the book and what we do. We do go live on Tuesdays at 6. I'm partnering with all of these ladies and everyone else. That is what the Village is all about networking and coming together so that we can sharpen our skills and to grow other leaders. So I love this. Thank you so much, Uncle Kafele.
Appreciate you.
That's his new name.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I embrace it. Stephanie, go ahead. How can they reach you?
For me, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I am on Linked Together. I am on Twitter, and StuffGage23 is mostly my handle on them. Principal Kafele, I just want to say thank you to you for what you do, but thank you to your wife, your son, and your daughter, because for 153 weeks, we have had a piece of your time on the weekend. So we truly appreciate you. Yes. Queen Kimberly, we truly, truly do. That you lend your husband out to the world and to help just make the world of education better. We truly could not thank him enough.
Wow, I appreciate it. She's up there listening, so I appreciate you. That matters. That matters immensely. Once again, folks, I appreciate you, and this won't be the last time because you know the information was just that valuable. And perhaps at some point y'all gonna be principals soon, and you know you never know that may change the conversation a little bit. But do me a favor, let me do my rundown. Stay there even when I go off, so I can talk to you off camera before we sign off. So, folks, let me holler at you real quick. Appreciate you being here all the time. Keep on coming back. Let me tell you. Let me just go through my rundown. Next week number 154. I got Dr. Nadia Lopez. I think many of you have heard of her. She's internationally renowned, former Brownsville, Brooklyn principal, best-selling author of the book Bridge to Brilliance. So she's been on all the TV shows, Ellen, Today Show, all the shows, been in the White House talking to President Obama in the Oval Office. So I called her recently and said, I need you on the platform. And she said, let's do it. So she'll be on with us next Saturday, week 154. Tune in, tell a friend. Saturdays, Facebook Live, Sean Hurt, my man, just got back from Johannesburg. That's 10 o'clock Saturday mornings. Create and Educate with the two doctors, Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30. Unlock the Middle with my man, Josh Tovar and Dean Packard at 7 on Sundays. And then that's Eastern time. And then we got one of the folks, one of the pair right here, Dr. Roz Gaskins and Coach Williams, the Village Leadership Group, every Tuesday, every Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Subscribe to the Virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel. Like and follow the Virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page. I don't know if I'm gonna have a commentary up tomorrow, man, because I got to speak tomorrow morning in Denver. So we'll see. We'll see. Make sure you register for the School Leadership Institute, July 11 and 12, 9 to 4, both days. Go to principalkafele.com. Scroll down to my announcements. You'll see it right there at the top. Hit the register button. I want to see you in the building, man. That's 9 to 4 at July 11 and 12. That means all day. The assistant principal identity will be released May 5th instead of May 19th. So May 5th, pre-order now, get it before it sells out. And then I told you I'm part of this ASCD/Alexa project. So now what you could do, go to my Facebook page, look for the link there for Alexa. I'm on Alexa, y'all. I don't even know what Alexa is. I ain't never seen it in my life, right? But I'm on it. So now every morning you just go, you say whatever you're supposed to say. You know, it's in the link, and then my voice will come up. I got this nice mic, man. ASCD sent me this like nice microphone, man. So I do these. I did all these recordings. They're motivational recordings. So then you just go to Alexa. It's a new message. It's called the morning message, and you just go there every morning, and I'll be on there saying something. You know, it won't be live, but it's still me. And then we'll be doing this for a while because we got a whole slew of messages on there. Then I got to record a whole slew more. That's why they gave me this expensive mic, right? So check that out. Just go to any of my platforms, scroll down because I posted last week, and you'll see it. And then you click that link and then get it going. And then lastly, let me plug these real quick. These go with the academy, right? The assistant principal 50, the aspiring principal 50. If you don't have your copy yet, get your copy, man. Get your copy. And then lastly, your diet, man. Eat right. Your exercise. Do what you're supposed to do. Get in that gym, man. And then your COVID precautions, man. Just, you know, when it's time, when it's right to wear a mask, wear a mask. When it's not, when you don't feel you need to, then don't do it. My man Stallings, he said, it's my man right here. I got to put him up here. He said, I should have the gold mic. Yeah. Tell ASCD, Stallings, hit them up and say, give Kafele a gold mic, right? So, hey, y'all, appreciate you. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I'm glad to see y'all. I see you next Saturday, 10:55. Oh, Denver folks, if you at that ASCD conference, man, I see you tomorrow at 10:45 Mountain Time. We having session and church at the same time. I'm wearing a black suit with black shoes. I'm going minister on that place tomorrow. So be there 10:45 at the Denver Convention Center, Colorado Convention Center. I'm bringing church to that conference tomorrow morning. You better tell somebody. Peace.